Well, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the UVic broadcast team for the UVic Vikes Hockey program, and we got a little bit of news to cover. This is our first show, and essentially, what the show is going to do for you is it's going to update you on everything you want to know about UVic hockey for the 2022 and 2023 season, and also, a little bit of information on the BCIHL. So let's get right into it. We've only been into 2 exhibition games so far, and I'm going to let my partner here, Matt, go over exactly who scored and kind of what we saw go down before our very eyes.
Thanks, Rhys. I'm excited about this season with you. We got our first game under our belt last Friday night and over at the UVic, Ian Stewart.
Yes.
And man, we had an exciting game between the Mariners and the Vikes. That was the first exhibition game. Yes. So it gave us a look at what the season might have in store for us, what the Vikes are going to look like. And what the Mariners, how they stack up against the Mariners. I know that the Vikes, something we talked about a lot on the broadcast was how are the Vikes going to take that step this year?
Exactly.
How are they going to come up and how are they going to match up against the Mariners, who were kind of in their wheelhouse last year? Vikes going 1-3 against them last year. But I know we were talking to some of the coaches down at the rink, and they're looking to take that step this year and see how they match up. And we saw it play out that on the first home game in the exhibition game right away, especially in the second period with the Vikes scoring 4 goals unanswered in the second period.
Yeah. Coming off of last season, VIU finished the second and UVic fought for that third place position. But, they obviously, like you said, they want to take a big step this year, but just as similar VIU does as well. And that's why the Mariners have been stacked up against UVic for all 4 of their exhibition games. Neither UVic or the Mariners are going to play any other team. They're just going to be playing each other. So, that's going to obviously create a little bit of like a playoff like rivalry just in the beginning with, testing out their new players. It's going to be a weird dynamic in how they're going to get experience with each other. It's a weird meeting, they're kind of put into this like, best of 4 series, kind of like a baseball season. And and what we saw last Friday was a pretty tight contest. I mean, so it seemed one-sided by the scoreline, but if you go back to the first period, we both remember they had that weird goal. He just dishes it. Can't remember that player. He's number 10. We couldn't get a name on him on the broadcast, but number 10 for the VIA, I'm sure we'll find out, this Friday when they come back to town. But he just comes flying into the back corner and he throws it, goes off the goalie's skate. And, that was something for Charles to get used to, who had a great game. That feeling of starting a game off with your first shot,
right.
Being a little bit of a fluky goal, but, as you saw, he really turned it up. And that was kind of like the difference maker. They tie it up in the first period, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, did they get their first goal in the second?
All the scoring, it was 1-0 after the first.
Right, it was 1-0 after the first. It felt like 1-1 though, because they kept battling back their counterattack, and their breakout was just kind of dominating at the end of that period. So it gave you a little bit of hope as a UVic Vikes fan. But once we got into that second, the scoring just opened wide up.
Totally. That we talked about that on the broadcast. The first line, Hermary, Keenan Eddy, and Pickett. Yeah. That was kind of the top line that the coaches were going to. Right at the end of that first period, tilted the ice back in the Vikes' favor, and it kind of stayed that way for at least a period and a half.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's such a key moment. We talked to assistant coach Cole after the game in a little scrum. What was one thing you noticed about the game? And the coach said right away, that strange first goal, it snuck between the post and the goalie's skate. And it must have been, I don't have the time noted, but it was like a minute into the game.
Yeah.
And we looked at one another and thought, this could be really strange. We're already expecting an exhibition game where the puck is going all over the place.
Yeah.
They sneak one in, but the team responded, and the Mariners came pretty heavy at times. there was 3 or 4 times during the game where Mariners forwards crashed into the net, knocking the net off its moorings.
Yeah.
And that I just noticed that they were going hard to the net, and Kirsten really stood tall throughout the game and was someone you had identified as a star of the game.
Yeah. No, at the end of the game, we gave her 3 stars just amongst the few of us. And oh yeah, I felt like I was talking about him the whole time while doing play-by-play. I felt like his name come up, it was like the last word that came out of my mouth was saved by Kirsten. So yeah, no, he was just calm between the pipes. I kept mentioning Carey Price. He felt like nothing was bothering him. All those big shots from the point, all those one-timers, even if they managed it to get on net, he didn't move. He didn't react. He wasn't jumping, making, I didn't see any, flying poke checks. I don't know. I didn't see him making any risky play. I just saw a calm goalie in net. And that's, what ultimately I feel like gave them the confidence to get into that second period where who opened the scoring? Who scored the first goal for the Vikes?
Number 88. That's
Riley Braun. Yeah. Little background on Riley Braun. He's coming out of the VIJHL. I think he led the league in scoring, had 120 points in 50 games.
Is that a lot? That seems like a lot.
48 games actually. Yeah, he missed 2 and he got 120. Yeah, that's amazing. That's 43 goals, 77 assists. And guess what? The funny thing is his line mate also came to UVic, Logan Spears, who put up 103 points in 50 games. Right. And,
these guys are on the score sheet a lot.
Yeah. And they come up and they're put on that fourth line scenario. And that's where, later I do want to get into a little bit. I do think Connor Nolan would be a good matchup with him because Connor Nolan also comes out of the SJHL. And I think he was 3rd in scoring in that league. So yeah, UVic, we mentioned it in the play-by-play. They got some Titans and they showed up. They showed up in the first exhibition game 100%. They came into that period flying, and we already noticed early on in the first period that breakout play was dominating. Like VIU was having a hard time dealing with them on the boards. They just came on the flanks, just kind of dominating with speed and power. And I didn't see a lot of like dump and chase play like I saw last year. Like I didn't see a lot of wasteful opportunities. And then they were also solid in the two-way department. I thought like in the neutral zone, they were shutting it down. Matthew Hiramari, Keenan Eddie, that first line. They feel like veterans in this league because they're seniors and they proved it.
There's no doubt in that first game, they were the leaders that turned the game around for the Vikes. In the second period, they go on a 4-minute man advantage for the kneeing.
Right. The double minor. What did you think about that? Do you think, was it a clear knee?
I saw players and legs flying all over the place. It was a car wreck kind of over there.
Right.
And I guess the referees in the first period didn't call any penalties, but they were drawing a line at that. There was a few dangerous plays in the game.
There was,
to be honest.
Yeah, there was.
It's pretty clear that players want to make the team, right? On both sides, they want to make the team. They're at times a little disorganized. They're ripping. They're ripping down. So there was a few plays like and a few scraps and stuff later in the game, but the power play really it woke the Vikes up. They got their feet going. They popped a few goals in. They were zipping the puck around really good in the offensive zone. You said, they were bringing it out on that, and that gave them a bit of confidence, and that they seem to trust their speed there. The second period dominating with a lot of their skilled forwards showed up. And then their depth was on display in that period.
That was what I was just about to get into. I was like, one word that you said constantly throughout that whole game was depth. Like it really showed. And I feel like one of the biggest reasons why we think that the depth was so impactful was because on your fourth line, you had, Braun, Spears, and Kyle Brown, who all chipped in. And I think they all made their way on the score sheet at some point. Right. And that when you have, your fourth line, I mean, we don't know how he's running these lines. I thought he was just running all 4 based on who was playing well that game. I didn't think he was doing, first line favor or anything, but I thought, that's also another thing. I do think Alec Dillon did a really good job of just utilizing his lines. I know it's exhibition and not a lot of focus goes into this stuff, but it was well managed and you could see it. And the reason why it's so important to point it out now is because it's got to translate into the season, right? Like that's the whole point of this, which is, why the next game on Saturday was not exactly the outcome they wanted, but there could have been changes that, they made from the game that we watched to the one that was in Nanaimo, where their broadcast team took over on that one. So,
right.
we
Yeah. And
get it through the grapevine.
Just our home game there. One more thing just to bring up in summary from my end is the special teams. Yes, was such a huge part of the game. That like I said, the first period, there was no penalty. The second period, Mariners get into penalty trouble. The Vikes take it to them with a bunch of goals. And Fournier, he was in there. He was fighting. There were no cheap goals, really. There was one goal. Was it Bentham? It went off. There was a rush down the side. It had gone off his arm. Remember, there was a bit of controversy, a bit of the referees had a meeting about that one.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I remember that one.
And then the special teams in the third period also became a factor because it was a 4-1 game. Mariners get a second goal, and the game is getting a bit close with about 5 minutes left.
Yes.
Remember, we were wondering if they were going to call for the extra attacker.
Yeah, they're going to pull the goalie.
Yeah.
They didn't end up going that, which makes sense.
But the Vikes, it was their turn. They got into some penalty trouble in the third period. They got five minors.
Yeah, that's where it got a little different. Like, obviously, that's what's going to happen. Usually when a team is down, usually when a team feels like they're up against the ropes, they're going to get physical because there's, that's the human battle. That's that regardless of technique. If you're playing the game of hockey, you just turn up the physicality, right? And that's just the X factor. I mean, why do you think fights happen in the NHL, right? They got to fire the team up in a different way other than scoring, because scoring's not working at the moment. So why not get physical? And that's exactly what UVic kind of endured. They dealt with, they went through that second period kind of, dominating them on the puck. And then you started to see the late hits. You started to see the frustration building in to the Mariners' heads. I thought, at least just based on what I was seeing on the ice, and it boiled over. It got to a point where Blake Bentham was coming down the right wing. And just once he got to that circle, he went to, hit a cross check to the back of the Mariners defenseman as he was trying to fish the puck out from behind the net, and he lost his footing. So it looked like, he cross checked through him into the boards. It looked bad at the time. I pointed it out. I was like, that's very dangerous play. So, I mean, that's why he got thrown out, and then there was a fight that ensued. So that's also unfortunate because now you lose that player. But yeah, it got heated. The aggressiveness goes up, but I mean, that's what you're going to expect in a 4-1 game. Well, I think it was 4-2 at that point, maybe, or I think it became 4-2 because of the physicality and all those minors. Yeah. 5, you said that period, which, undoubtedly led to that goal.
There was a lot of line dancing in that third period, a lot of kind of brawling, and, the Vikes, their skill is definitely, that seems to be their strength.
Yes.
They have a few players though that might be kind of jerks this season.
Yeah.
I kind of liked Bentham.
Yes.
Redirecting pucks. Durance, he was in a bit of a scrap, but there's a few players that are kind of low center of gravity. They look like balls of fire.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Hermary feels like that too, but he's 6 foot because he's just so stocky. He's a stocky guy, so he's got a big presence on the ice, but you're right. Keegan Durance is all over it. I think those are the guys that, you wouldn't initially think that had a good game, but they had a great game. They were all over it. They were all over the back check on sticks. And again, that neutral zone really stuck out. I felt like anytime the freshman lines came off, if they weren't dominating the puck, they were getting it back pretty efficiently. They were intercepting passes all over the D zone at times. And I saw the neutral zone was a big thing to me. I thought was great. Like a lot of the passes that were there trying to come through on the transition, sticks were in the middle. And that shows you they're working, right? Like that's the only way you can be an effective two-way team is if the team you're playing is blind, or that you have good, work ethic. You gotta work, you gotta follow the puck, and you gotta follow the man. Can't let them, just wheel by you. So, just having that good two-way ability, but then also the most waking highlight of it, just, the effect, the ease of goal scoring, because, last year it was a grind to get goals, and, the season's results pertained that fact. It showed that they were having trouble scoring, and that yeah, it led to not the best result. But yeah, like we said, just because of the physicality at the end doesn't take away from a good win. So, but like you said, also, we got some grit and some mean players on UVic, which is also a good sign in this league for sure.
Yeah, just a little bit of balance with edge. I mean, with the skilled team of the Vikes, they want to remain disciplined.
Yeah.
You know, they've almost lost the game on the Friday night because of taking 5 minors in the third period. But they have lots of skill. I like their skill on the back end too. One player that stood out to me was Aiden Morrison.
Oh yeah, freshman too.
Yeah, they have. I mean, all the defensemen played well that Friday night.
Yeah,
he stood out to me. I wonder, was there a defenseman you're looking forward to watching this season?
Well, yeah, I'm excited for Danny Gattenby to get back because, I think he was just catching his stride at the end of the season last year. I think he had a good season throughout. It was tough times with the team, but I think he's a really effective puck mover. And once he gets into the same power play situation, for example, with Braun and Spears, I think it's going to be nice. He can move the puck good, and he's a big boy. And not that the other players can't. I think Aiden Morrison's going to be a good highlight for sure. I thought Borit was his typical self, which I think is a really useful rough and tough right D, top D. He can play a lot of minutes. He seems like a really good, reliable player. I think he and Gattenby should maybe go together. I know he is left-handed, Borit. I think I'm pretty sure he's left-handed, but yeah, no, I'm excited. I think Kierston's going to be the biggest difference. Having more, I think, having this freshman relationship between these top guys. Morrison's a freshman, Kierston's a freshman. The Braun and Spears duo, Connor Nolan's also a freshman. They're all coming off of good seasons, and they're all going to develop a certain relationship because they're all in the same age gap. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it.
And there's a chance too, Rhys, that a lot of these players that stand out to us might not be around all the time.
Yes.
Like they're still fighting for roster spots, right? There's a few
Exactly.
more exhibition games before the season begins. So the coaches have tough decisions. That's something that assistant coach Cole talked to us in the scrum, was like, he was just saying to us, like, we got a lot of good players. We got a lot of depth in goal, defense, and forward. There's a lot of difficult decisions to be made to make up this Vikes roster.
Yep.
And so it makes for an exciting season for us, to see how things will unravel and to see what becomes the Vikes' strength and to see how they fare against the other teams in the league.
Exactly. And it's, and like Cole also said, it's not a long season, right? So you gotta be conditioned. You gotta be ready to go just for the games that you're given. Another thing that's also positive though is we are hosting the tournament this year. Can't remember off the top of my head the title. I'll think of it next episode, but they're hosting it at UVic at the Ian Stewart Complex for the first time in a couple of years, I think. So that'll be really exciting, and that'll be good hockey to bring to the Vikes, the Vikes fandom. But yeah, I don't know. I thought the overall performance was good. I think we didn't see the game on Saturday, but we should go over what the result was. I wish we could have got a glimpse at the lineup. We weren't able to get it. All this stuff will be not happening during the season, but it's exhibition, so things are up in the air a little bit. But yeah.
Well, September 16th, that was the game we did, our home game. 5-2 win for the Vikes.
Right.
2 goals from Spears, 1 assist, kind of highlighting that game. Then the next night they go to play the Mariners in Nanaimo, Vancouver Island University, 6-3 loss. Right. They have Pilon in net versus Kirsten.
Mm-hmm.
They scratched that top line we've been talking about, Hermarie, Pickett. Eddie did draw in down the lineup.
Okay.
Gattenby is also scratched along with the speedy defenseman DeGo.
Yep.
Right. He did not show up or did not play.
Yep.
The goal scorer, 6-3 loss. The goal scorers, Morrison, Magic.
Oh, Brian Magic. Yeah. So he's a senior. He's good.
We didn't see him on Friday, but he gets on the goal sheet there. Along also Withy, another returnee, right? Another returning player.
And he's Finn. is their top scorer from last year. So he's going to be a big addition as well. I mean, it just, again, just a touch on that depth, but yeah, I'm glad he played. That's good. I think we'll get a good glimpse of a mix of the two rosters this Friday, hopefully, right. To see who did well in Saturday and who did well, obviously what we saw, and put a lineup with that. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. I can't wait to see that
Yeah.
because the first game we did, the exhibition season, we liked what the team looked like. We
like
what the team looked like.
Yeah, no complaints.
We like the pair. I like Arbuckle and Benger. I like those guys together.
Yeah.
And see the next night you got Benger gets on the he gets an assist that night.
Oh, nice.
But there's a new defenseman we did not see named Carta. That's a returning player,
Kenyon
right?
Carta. Yeah, I think he played last year. He's a good puck mover. He's a good skater. So yeah, that'll be interesting to add into that. I'm a little concerned about who's not going to be playing. I feel Dustin DeGo might sit out a couple just to get those, juniors and sophomores in. But I think the biggest guy missing, did Gatenby play? I think Gatenby's injured though, right? I think he's out of commission.
Okay, I never heard that. I did hear.
Did he play yesterday?
No, he did.
Okay,
he didn't play in Nanaimo.
Oh, okay.
The coach referred to Gatenby as WHL level defenseman.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I'll pull it up real quick. I'm pretty sure he either was invited or he did play there for a bit and then decided to go back to school.
In the inter squad scrimmage, he got a couple goals in one shift.
Oh,
so okay. He's got a little bragging rights between the teammates, I'm sure, for that one.
That's for sure.
2 goals by a defenseman in one shift is pretty rare, right? So, I just started watching hockey, but that seems pretty out there.
Oh yeah, it's definitely out there.
It's a fun team to talk about, man. I will say that. Like, I enjoyed the broadcast with you and with the other volunteers with the Vikes, with T and with Eric, and the group. I enjoyed it, and I can't wait till the next home game.
Yeah. By the way, Danny Gatenby did play in the WHL. He played for the Kamloops. Yeah, he played in Kamloops and he played in Tri-City. Then he went to the BCIHL after that. That's amazing that they get their hands on a player like that. But yeah, no, you're definitely right. It's going to be an exciting season. And I wouldn't say that if it wasn't true. I would say it's going to be a long season and there's some development to be made. But I'm not saying that because what I saw at that exhibition game, and also the fact that they're netting 3 goals in the game after, it shows me something. Again, it's night and day difference from what we saw last year. And that depth that they have all over it's going to be a really interesting time. It's going to break a couple hearts, but it's going to be an interesting time to see what that final roster looks like because right. That depth is competitive. It's not that, I don't think that's that far apart. I don't think there's any players that stand out far from another player so bad to where you're like, okay, this guy's not playing. I didn't see that at all. There's not one name I could call out that
that's the reason. That's the reason why we're not coaching. And we're just the peanut gallery.
Exactly.
I'm getting to check this out and follow along and see what dramas are ahead of us here this year.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, around the league, just to go over that, because, some people are also interested in the other teams that the Vikes have to unfortunately compete against. Well, I guess unfortunately for them, they have to compete.
Yeah, tell me about it. What's going on around the league there?
So yeah, the SFU won 6-3 against oh my God, I don't even know the name of that team. That's horrible.
There's a new team called the Miners, right?
Yeah,
Logan Lake Miners.
Yeah, it's actually it's a blue team. Do they usually play these fellas? Oh, the TWU Spartans. They're okay. Yeah, that's why they're in a different league. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, they played against them while while Vikes were playing the Mariners for their first game. They won that. They took it 6-3. I have no information on that, but obviously one thing you can take away is SFU back in the win column. Like, they're obviously not gonna be leaving far from where they were last year. And then
Trinity Western University.
Thank you. Yeah. Again, we're learning here. This is the first episode. Give us a break.
So news flash, SFU is going to be good.
Yeah, right.
All right.
As if anybody needed to be reminded of that. But also the Okanagan Lakers played Logan Lake, and they took the W in 4-3. Close one.
Nice.
I've heard good things about both teams. I've heard Logan Lake is coming into is going to be a competitive team, and Okanagan's going to be competitive as well. So it's there is no shortage of competition in this league, that's for sure. Yeah. I don't know who else is playing soon. I think yeah, so this week, obviously we got the Vikes and the Mariners playing each other on Friday and Saturday, once in Victoria at Ian Stewart, and then the other one in Nanaimo at the Ice Center. And then SFU meets up against the UAF Nanooks. Now, I don't know about the name Nanooks. I'm sure it has a good meaning, and I'm sure it has like a good mascot, but I don't know about it. Nanooks is, it sounds good, actually. It's growing on me the more I say it. SFU Red Leafs are also facing off against the Seawolves of UAA in Anchorage. So that's American. There's no broadcast for that one, but again, that's what they, these guys got to look forward to. This Friday they play against the Seawolves, and then the Saturday right after they play against the Nanooks in Fairbanks. So Friday, Saturday hockey action across the BCIHL exhibition style, both Friday and Saturday. So definitely stay tuned for that stuff.
Right on. We'll see how these teams fare up against the Vikes when they come through town this season.
Yeah.
We'll be down there.
We'll be down there.
We'll also be broadcasting.
Yes, of
Tell
course.
Tell me about that, Rhys.
Oh, okay. I'll break it down. So if you have $150 that you don't need, you can get the Hockey TV subscription, and you can tune into Matt Goud, right? Right. Yeah, not Gold. There's an L in there, but the L is silent. Okay. Exactly. And Rhys Savoie, which is said exactly how it is written. But yeah, you can tune into us. I'll be doing play-by-play, and Matt will be doing color, and yeah, we're going to be wrapping up all the home games. All the home games are going to be broadcasted by us. There might be some special guests in the future. You never know. It could be the coach, could be players, could be celebrities. You never know, right? Like anything could happen, right? So, yeah.
We're bringing out all the stops this season. Yeah. We're like the Vikes. We want to take a step. For me, my first step in broadcasting, we want to take a step and kind of see what we're made of, and, go and grind and dump the puck in, get in there, whip it around, get some shots on goal, stay disciplined, stay heavy, stay mean, go to the net and clear the puck. That's what we want to do each broadcast.
Couldn't have said it better. Honestly, I think we're just going to end it on that. So yeah, we will come back to you with coverage this coming Monday, a week from today, with, whatever goes on this weekend, what the results are, and if there's anything other wise that's interesting within the league. And we'll bring it straight to you here on this channel. I'm glad you tuned into the first episode. We will improve. I will improve. I know it seems like tough right now, but it's going to get better. All right. But with that, I say have a great night. And any closing remarks, Matt?
No, take it easy till next time.
Yes. Thank you very much. And I'll see you next time.